Hello everyone and welcome you to this amazing webinar brought to you by the Soltesz Institute. My name is Viktoria Soltesz, the founder of the Soltesz Institute, and today I have a very exciting topic with a very prestigious guest here with me, Irakli, who will discuss the payment systems and the crypto setups in Georgia. And I felt like that there is a huge need to understand how certain countries are reacting to these new regulations. For example, the SEPA, which is now very prevalent in Georgia. Georgia is not part of the EU, but Georgia joined the SEPA area. So it is a lot of interesting information we need to discover when it comes to how the banking system reacted to that. And of course, Georgia is also a latest crypto hub. So there are a lot of exciting topics that we will discuss with Irakli about crypto, about digital assets, how does it affect the current system, what the future holds. So I think that it will be a very exciting webinar and we can learn a lot from Irakli. So please, Irakli, tell us a bit more about yourself. How did you end up in this industry, and where do you work today, and what is the expertise that you brought us?
First of all, thank you, Victoria, for your invitation, and it's a pleasure for me to be invited to your channel, and greetings to all the viewers. Georgia is still kind of a hidden gem in the world of taxation, in the world of banking or operations, and in general doing business, and that's why it was a pleasure for me to give the chance and opportunity to talk to you about this hidden opportunities which Georgia can provide to the world, because you mentioned the crypto, the banking, the systems, and the payment operators, and that actually gave some results. This is only tools, but there are even further, the bigger opportunities which Georgia can offer to the listeners. So I'm all yours now.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm very excited already to start this. So today's topic is banking system and crypto in Georgia. And as we do usually, we collected some questions from the audience up front. But if someone would like to share more insights or have other questions, I would like to encourage everyone to please feel free to reach out to us, to Irakli or to myself. And then there's going to be new opportunities to discuss any other questions, and we can only make this industry better and more transparent and more ethical if we are bringing out all of those real life issues that we are dealing with in the everyday activities of our business. So please share your thoughts, please share your comments and questions with us. But let's see the first question that we brought today, just to ease off in the conversation. How would you describe the current state of banking and payment strategies in Georgia comparing to neighboring countries? And I'm thinking about what's the current landscape, what's the current, the government's appetite for foreign investors. What's going on with you guys in Georgia? What's happening?
Actually, a very good question to start with, because all the questions will be some kind of starting point to describe in general an overall overview of the topic. You know that Georgia has adopted an Estonian model of taxation in early 20s, and it gives opportunities not only to the local businesses but to the international businesses to have operational entity outside European Union, though very close geographically to the European Union, because just to underline, Georgia is in time zone of GMT +4, and all this kind of investments or needs what these operational entities will be needing. First of all, this is banking system, and then there comes like human resources or other resources what might be needed for the operations. Okay, in the early 90s, when Georgia started talking over into moving to the new capitalization systems and new adopted all the kind of experiences from the world, and especially from the European Union, at that time we have had the Georgian banks. And those two Georgian banks have been grown up enough that nowadays those two Georgian banks, which are TBC Bank and Bank of Georgia, both of them are private banks. They are both of them stocked in the London Stock Exchange in the prime sector. Actually, they have couple of weeks ago, they have actually one of them has won an award of user experience of the application. Just for you to know, they are very, very easy and client-oriented in the customer service, and the services they are providing through their online channels. This is amazing. I did not even found it even much more developed countries like, I don't know, you name it. I'm sure that the Georgian banks can compete definitely to them.
Wow, this is so exciting to hear that such a small country, it has such a big potential, right? It's got the right mindset from the regulators and then from the governments as well to attract foreign investments, right? This is what I hear.
Absolutely. Plus, you might not believe, but it is still possible in Georgia to open the bank account remotely, even not visiting the country. I'm talking about the personal bank accounts. And both of the banks, and besides these two mentioned banks in Georgia, in general, we have more than 10 licensed banks, local or internationals. One of them is, for example, ProCredit Bank, which is German bank, but operating in Georgia. You can either send the power of attorney through any kind of countries with a post service, and then the representative will open the bank account in Georgia, or Bank of Georgia and TBC and some other banks are also having an online channel for citizens of European Union to just apply and open a digital bank account, receive the card as well. Digital card. So it might not be believed in nowadays banking life, but in Georgia it is still possible. Of course, considering that there will be a full package of compliances and AML procedures, and only after that you will receive confirmation of opening. But just having an option which is still working to open an account online, it's very unbelievable nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is fantastic because the ease of banking, I think, is the biggest challenge for every international business, that you have to be there physically. And what we see with these neobanks and new e-money institutions and payment institutions integrating all of those, even sometimes AI tools for compliance checks when you do the face recognition through your mobile app, is just as good, if not even better, compliance procedure when the banker is looking at you, right? Or it's actually stored digitally. It's got actually higher chances of being secure and safe and legit than just a glimpse of an eye. But that's just my private opinion. But it's fantastic that Georgia is really keeping up to date with the fintech and both aspects of it, the fin and the tech aspects of it. So this is definitely good to hear. And since you're talking about the EU, we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that Georgia is not part of the EU yet, but you already have the SEPA, the SEPA rail, which is the single euro payment area when it comes to your banking. And since we have the new regulation around SEPA Instant, there will be a good opportunity that even from bank accounts based in Georgia, you can send money instantly in euro within seconds or even a fraction of the seconds to all over Europe. Now, tell us a bit more about that. How could this happen, that a country which is not part of the EU and not having euro as a main currency have such an amazing achievement of having to join the SEPA system in their banking?
The answer is simple, because we are as good as it's possible to be. That's why. Jokes ahead. Actually, I want to just underline that though the fact that Georgia is not part of European Union legally, mentally and culturally, you can feel by yourself as well that when you travel to Georgia, it's like you are like in the middle of any kind of European countries, because sometimes it feels like, especially if you come to Tbilisi, which is a capital, it might feel like you are in Paris or in Barcelona or in kind of, very cultural Italian cities. Or if you go to the seaside, then you can feel that there is kind of Mediterranean aura and atmosphere. and the people and the culture and the communication is also very high. You will feel it by yourself. This is one thing, just only for the feelings. But purely legally speaking, Georgia became a candidate to join the European Union last year, and we are still the candidates here. But even before, Georgia have had a free trading agreement with the European Union. I would say deep and comprehensive free trading agreement with the European Union. A long story short, all the products made in Georgia can be sold in any state of European Union without import tax. Also, all the citizens of Georgia and Georgian passport holders can travel to European Union visa-free. What else do we need from European Union, honestly?
Exactly.
And I think that's the proper expression I can say. And it's opposite as well, because if you are a holder or resident of any European Union state, then you can travel and stay and work and get the mortgage loan in Georgia for up to 1 year. There is no limitation that as soon as you are a tourist visitor to the country, you cannot establish a company or open the bank account or start any kind of operations. It feels legally as well that you are part of European Union. And of course, the benefits and the less of the regulations what we have, this is also like a very, very, very beneficial. Now, come back to your question about the SEPA. Due to the fact that we are the candidates, this is one of the steps of joining to the European Union, because joining to the SEPA system started last year, and the process is still ongoing, because not all the banks are yet integrated, and some of the banks are using the intermediary, their own branches or some systems to have these transfers in SEPA. And actually, this is an opportunity nowadays within the Georgian financial institutions that the one who will be the first or who is already first is already winning some kind of competition. But there is still a gap. Because nowadays there are not a lot of operations happening with the European Union, because what the government and the business, the local business is trying to do is developing an environment for international businesses to come and relocate to Georgia. And step by step, this will come, because as soon as the demand to these systems and networks will grow, of course, the financial institutions and the government institutions and the private sector will do their best to provide and cover this demand as fast as possible. So let us business develop this demand in the country to make this development happening even faster. That would be my suggestion and my request to the business.
And how about the technological companies? Because obviously SEPA is one thing to get the right to implement SEPA, but it's a whole different question of developing the payment infrastructure about SEPA. Do you think that the banks have the strong capabilities to be technically innovative? I mean, obviously we have seen the compliance procedures are now very innovative and it can be done completely online. So I assume this applies there as well for the technological innovation, right?
Absolutely agree. And if you will see newly updated strategies of the banks, even the Georgian banks, which I have already mentioned in the beginning of our interview, none of them are considering themselves as a traditional banks anymore, because this is a reality. Nowadays, a traditional bank is a dinosaur. Either they will die or they are already dead, okay, or in the process of dying. So if you would read their own new statements, they do recognize themselves as digital companies, digital financial institutions. And that's why I have actually started in the beginning that their tools, their instruments, their applications, their website and their systems, what is oriented for the providing the service, it's so advanced and it's so well developed in the way of customer service that you will be happily surprised, and you might not believe that in the small tiny little country, even not part of the European Union, can provide this kind of high quality products in applications or web services.
Amazing. That's good to hear. And I think the next question is about this areas as well, is that what challenges do Georgian banks face in adopting their payment infrastructure to meet SEPA standards? Is there any challenge that you see? So yes, we talked about all the successes and then the technical integrations. What do you think? Is there any challenge here, any problem, any issues that you still need to overcome?
Actually, I think, and this might be a proper answer from the financial institution as well, if there is a problem, let's say, that's should be perceived as an opportunity as well, because nowadays, if the financial institutions do see any kind of demand, they take their time to answer those demands as fast as possible. And if they see that there is a need of some kind of technical adaptation or some regulation adaptation, that's very fast from their side, because Georgian management in general and the whole economy is very young, pretty young, because even the banks and even the biggest Georgian companies are still under the management of the first generation. And that's how young they are, because now these are the changes of the generation is happening. And those young people are bringing the new technologies, new knowledge and expertise to the field, and they are adopting very fast. And if you are asking about the regulations, this is how I described as well. Even though Georgia is not part of European Union yet, we have already started implementing the regulations from European Union in a good way, because we already know what is important, we know what is good for the business, for the environment, for the government, or for the business itself, and we are trying to implement in the way that's a success, to have the win-win position for everyone.
Nice. It's good to hear. It seems like that you got your little paradise there when Europe still cannot
welcome here,
and then you have the absolute perfect place for businesses, and being outside of the EU but still having the banking rails. I think is just the best of both worlds, really. So that's nice. Let's see the other question, which says, how has SEPA membership influenced cross-border transactions for businesses operating in Georgia? And we have seen a lot of cases, for example, India, UPI, or in Brazil, we have seen PIX, which is really affecting the day-to-day transactions and the business trust. Meaning, I don't have to send you an invoice and hope that your accountant is figuring out the 16-digit bank number and at one point will send me the money. Is just instant. I'm sending you something and I get paid instantly, like it's with cash or like it's with, let's say, cards. Of course, cards are not that easy, but that's the assumption. Do you think that cross-border businesses, transactions between Georgia and foreign entities have been influenced already by this SEPA membership, or if not, will it be really bringing the beneficial business trust, saying that I trust Georgia, I can get my money there in and out immediately, so that will also help you to strengthen your position as a business hub?
In regards to the trust, I would say that this is more like a political question. It's not only the banking system and banking operations, unfortunately, and I'm sure that this is the question to the government representatives, but what I see, they do understand this very well as well, and they are working from their side in that direction. I wish they would be working even more harder, because I am the private sector and it's never enough for me, my side, but I want to assure that they do their best in their possible in the possible ways. This is one thing. Another thing is that I want to underline that in terms of Georgia and the comparisons in general for doing business from Georgia, it's very different. Because I've mentioned in the beginning that Georgia has adopted an Estonian model of taxation, which means that no matter how much money you have at the end of the year in the company, you will not pay any taxes, any corporate taxes, until the time you distribute the dividend. So basically issuing an invoice and waiting for the payments is just an operational transaction for the company, not the taxational operation, okay? But pure operational wise for companies, there is not a big difference if it would be a SEPA or a SWIFT transfer, which we are still using and we are using before as well. But what is the most important here? This is the time efficiency and the cost efficiency. Because SEPA is much more cheaper and much more faster. And in this case, it's purely not for the government trust, but for the partnership trust as well, that if you send me an invoice, I paid you straight away and you have received it. This is a one thing as well. Besides this, in Georgia, we do not have an obligation to open the land bank, because you can establish a company in Georgia, which is a work of one day, actually. You can open the company in Georgia, mention whatever number in the capital, and do not place this money on any bank account, and do not open the bank account in Georgia. You can, for example, open in any other neobanks or digital internet bankings or EMIs or PSPs and operate your Georgian entity only with this electronic money institution. Georgia is kind of, using all the possibilities, all the options and the tools, what is possible for the businesses to make their life as easy as possible. SEPA, again, will be an additional benefit and option to even make the operations more efficient. But already there are so many things to do, even without the SEPA, that it's already about the business, what is better for them to use.
Nice. I think it's very important to mention that, because yes, banking is obviously one thing, but taxation and the VAT, of course, that's a massive decision factor as well when you start to incorporate a company in a foreign jurisdiction. And I think the next question is also asking this, that how the government is supporting the banking sector in meeting not just necessarily the SEPA technological and operational standards, but all over how the government is supporting the fintech sector in these challenges, because obviously joining the SEPA system has some criteria as well that you have to meet. What we see, for example, from our end in Europe, that if you're running a smaller financial institution, payment institution, and now you're offering SEPA, as you do because you're in Europe, then you have to maintain a 24/7 system. You have to have a state-of-art compliance system, because once the money is sent, it cannot be claimed back. So there is no delay in payments where the compliance still has the chance to check out what kind of payment has been spent. Is there any way that the government is giving you some kind of help or tax relief or any kind of innovation hub kind of support, which is affecting the fintech businesses in Georgia, implementing the SEPA technology or any other fintech technology?
Let me start from the beginning, that we are still in the process of implementing SEPA in the country in general, and it's not finished. What the government is doing, I think government is doing what is the most important, to take care of the reputation of, in general, the industry of banking and the government and the business as well. And in the middle, I would say that there is also a fintech association and a bank association, which are merging all the voices of those industry representatives and working in line with the government. And this is working very, very, very well. In Georgia, the main agency for providing the services to the banking system is a national bank. And actually what they are doing, they are implementing manuals, standards, and the procedures for AML procedure, for the operations, for the customer service, and some kind of regulations as well. And they are also protecting interest of the customers as well. In case there is a need that the customer needs a protection to get some kind of information or some kind of claims to take, there is also an association and the National Bank of Georgia as well. So again, I feel this is the best role of the government, is just to play an intermediary role, connecting all these things together. Because in Georgia, there was like a very, very, very big period in the country where the trust towards the financial institutions was very low, especially after demolishing the Soviet Union, because as you know, Georgia was part of the Soviet Union, and the banking system collapsed in the Soviet Union, and there were a lot of people who used to have deposits in the Soviet bank, and when the bank demolished, all the money which they were keeping in those banks, they just disappeared. And now, actually, after having an independent country of Georgia and developing the banking system with zero trust to the banks and developing everything from the scratches, can you imagine how many interest of the business itself and the government is going of gaining those trust again and actually developing this trust from the zero, that they are also keeping it until today. Of course, the newer generation, our new generation is having a new demands, especially for the online products and online services. But of course, there is majority which is still having the memories of the old times of not keeping money in the banks. And again, this is the role of the government and the National Bank of Georgia to play an intermediary role within the customers and the audience in general and the financial institution, and somehow make this mechanism work in the best possible way. And I think they are doing it well.
Nice. And I think you also have this big challenge coming out from, obviously, from the Soviet era, that your banks are still holding funds which could be now under different restrictions, or, you know, between the two worlds of like still having a lot of businesses and interest from that Soviet era, but joining the EU. How do you think that currently you guys are tackling it?
Victoria, I think that's not the case at all, because as I said, those banks who were in the Soviet times, it's absolutely disappeared. There is no such kind of institutions or legacies who are coming back to the new organizations. It's just disappeared, they're done. There is no even the legacy coming to someone, and that's why everything, it's even better in my opinion, that everything was developed from the very scratch, from zero, from the expertise and experience. Those generation who has started doing that at that time was the top. And actually, it was not. That's why Georgian banks are so young and motivated and having new technologies, that they are young by themselves as well, because they have started working like a 30, 25 years ago, you know. Another thing what the Georgian National Bank is also doing as a role in the government is that they are the institution and the agency, to call them, who are issuing the licenses for the banks as well. And they are actually studying the cases or the projects. If there is a new company who wants to get the license of bank or digital bank, because we have in Georgia 2 different licenses, and they are studying this case. And in case of Georgia, this is not like, I like it or I don't like. They are working with the business owners in line to make it happen and give them the feedback, recommendations, how to develop the project to obtain this license. It's not like, no, we don't like it, reject it, go out. No, because this is a service-oriented agency which aims to get as much to sell or get out as much licenses as possible, to have as more financial organizations as possible.
Great attitude. I absolutely adore this attitude, that you're hungry for business, you've got the capabilities, you've got the support. So it's amazing. We hear a lot about the cryptocurrency market in Georgia, and I would like to hear it from you as an expert who is not seeing cryptocurrency as an investment, but as a technological innovation, as a licensed activity. So you've got a different approach to that. That how would you describe the current cryptocurrency market in Georgia? What about the licenses? What about the players? What about the different businesses dealing with crypto? What do you see? What's happening there?
A very quick answer to your question, how do I describe Georgia and crypto market, is like full of opportunities. That would I be answering. Because again, in Georgia, cryptocurrency is regulated. You can easily obtain the license, easily. Of course, it takes some procedures, but up to from 1 to 3 months, you can obtain the license of crypto wallet or payment system provider. It's unbelievable for majority of the European countries. The way it is regulated, just I want to underline, is that this has the value of asset, the cryptocurrencies, and not the money. Which means that as the Georgian tax resident, me, if I'm trading with the cryptocurrencies, all the profit I will be gaining from trading, I will be free from any taxes. because in Georgia, any kind of passive income, even from the trading, it's free of taxes, okay? So all the operations of the cryptocurrency, trading of it, selling or buying, it's free of taxes. The only difference is that, as I have mentioned, it does not have the value of money. This is not the source of payment, but there are intermediaries who are taking care of it. So if you are having the wallet and then you are just transferring the asset, then the buyer will receive the fiat in the way that it is like, I don't know, received as a payment. So if there is a demand to use the cryptocurrency as a payment source, there are the intermediary softwares and applications and businesses which took care about that already, and they are solving it. So long story short, in Georgia, you can find the cafes, restaurants, co-working spaces or businesses who do receive the payment in the cryptocurrency operation. Not as a payment, but there is a cryptocurrency operation, and through cryptos you can pay for your services. Even buy the real estate, for example. If there are some crypto enthusiasts and want to somehow cash out the cryptos, it's easy in Georgia to obtain the real estate through the cryptos.
Nice. So we heard that there is a tax incentive for a person trading with crypto to obviously go to Georgia and be exempt of the volatility of the cryptos which they can cash out. But are there any unique tax incentives for crypto companies in Georgia? That's what I would be curious about. So what are those key factors which are bringing the crypto companies to Georgia, and Georgia then becomes a crypto hub? Is there any specific tax incentives for the companies, the crypto companies in the region?
Sure. As I said, it comes to be a tax-free, not for only the individuals, but also for the legal entities as well. If they are producing the cryptos and then they are selling them, selling this crypto is free from VAT and free from the profit, which makes this market like very attractive for crypto enthusiasts. First of all, they are having an operational cost, which means that there is no taxation because they are just having an operational cost. Okay, they are not distributing the dividend. Plus, after selling the cryptos, whatever profit they are having, it's just the profit from trading, which means that they might not even pay profit tax as well. Production of the crypto is relatively cheap as well, because electricity in Georgia is much more cheaper than many European countries. Okay, for the residentials, a kilowatt of energy will cost something around 25 euro cents, for you to understand. And that's how cheap it is for farmers to farm the cryptos. Another thing is licensing for opening the wallets, for all the processes, and actually serving the clients and receiving later on the clients for wallet operations. As I've mentioned, the National Bank of Georgia is working in line with the businesses to make their application much more easier, and they work in line with them to make their life, the client's life, easier to obtain this license. And then this license is already recognized within European Union because we have this regulation which is under the European standards. And then you can easily start your operation outside the country as well with already existing verified valid license of a PSP or wallet. And then you can already start like integrating to very famous international crypto markets, develop something by yourself and already attach this wallet to have like a much more bigger approach to your clients. So again, the way I describe the market in Georgia is full of opportunities, because if someone is having a knowledge, expertise, and the willingness to do something different, something new, and they want to find like a tax-wise or cost-wise most efficient jurisdiction nearby European Union, then Georgia might be one of the best locations for them.
Wow. And how does the government regulate crypto? I mean, will you be harmonized to MiCA? Because obviously MiCA has very strict areas, for example, you know, the travel rule, and they have to adhere to the transfer pricing. So there are a lot of caveats there. What's happening with the crypto regulation in Georgia? Do you, obviously you're following the EU standard, I assume, yes. But is there any differentiation? Is there any specification which is different or not the same or even better than MiCA?
What I have already said before, the easiest diversification from crypto to the money is that the government just said that crypto is not the money. It's just an asset. It's like, real estate or some kind of asset which you can trade and then convert it to the fiat, which is already much more easier regulated or recognized for rest of the world. Okay, for the fiat currencies, government is already having a bunch of regulations from European Union or the local ones. But for the asset, they said that let's make it easy. Let's say that this is not the money. We are not considering crypto as a money, and let's make it like a value of asset and let it be traded like asset worldwide, and let's free it from any taxation. So that's how they treat crypto, which in my opinion is the easiest option to make both of the institutions' life easy. I mean, the government, regulators, and the customers as well.
Great. So how one go to Georgia, sets up a company, and then gets this payment service provider license? What's the timeline? What is the share capital requirement? Do you know that?
Of course. Listen, I would not go for the details, but it's general procedures. You have to firstly establish a standard LLC, which is a work of 1 working day after, of course, submitting all the needed documentation. And then you have to have a local employee, local AML officer, you have to employ all of them, develop the structure, which is already provided by the agency. It's there, it's online. You can just have the step-by-step instruction from the government. And then you have to put the capital in there, and I will not mention the number because no matter the timing of airing this video, it might be changed. And according to that number of capital, and you will submit all these documents, and then the procedure in the way of consultation. Then the government will say that, look, what do you think about this procedure? I think you have to clarify these details. Then you will adopt these new feedbacks, and then they will say, okay, it looks perfect. Now let's move to the other step. And it's like a procedure. Usually it takes, if you are very good and we have had an experience of obtaining a PSP license through IBCCS Tax Georgia, but if you are very new, it might go up to 3, maximum 4 months, in my opinion. Wow. But optimistically, it's doable to do within 1 month period.
Wow, this is really, really quick because, yes, European Union is usually sitting on your application for a year, 1.5 years at least. That's the quickest ways. So what do you think? We reached the last question, which is, I think, the most interesting. What will the future hold for the region in terms of payments and banking and crypto and new business? Full of opportunities, I understand, but is there anything specifically that you would like to highlight? Is there something cooking up at the background that we don't know about and it will only come out in a couple of months' time as a new revelation? Is there something specific that you have in mind for us in the future for Georgia?
Actually, the last question, I would be answering the same answer like for the first question as well, because I will just linking those 2 questions to each other. Georgia is so big hidden gem that I doubt that they might be starting having some extra borders for newcomers or new businesses to come to the country. But as soon as they will be already discovered and recognized as the hub and all the information what goes around the internet about Georgia, they will find out that most of them is true and they can actually benefit out of Georgia. Then the government will start to, somehow make it even more strict or operational wise, more reputable and more trusted. Because that not only the nice businesses and the good businesses will be coming and using these options and opportunities to the country. But what I want to underline that Georgia is a very small country. Making some kind of changes, especially the sensitive changes, which includes increasing the prices of the service, it's basically impossible. I would tell even more. In Georgia, we have protected our tax code in the way that it is written in the Constitution of Georgia. No matter of the government who will be there in charge, no one ever can change the tax code, especially increase the numbers or the rates in the tax code. The only option for any government to change the numbers and the rates in the tax code is a referendum. And I doubt any kind of population of any country who would be happy to agree on increasing the rates of the tax code. So this is how protected and how sharp all the willingness of the country is to make and transfer the Georgia as a hub of providing not only the financial services but any kind of services which can be done from Georgia to the world.
Wow, so the future is definitely bright. So it's a stability.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, we don't know in this case, right? The world is full with surprises. I agree with you, but hopefully everything is going to end up well, and then yes, we will see. Really, Georgia is to position itself to the center of the map and to the desired list of business investments, because indeed you guys have a lot of good surprises and good tax benefits and regulation and harmonized laws together with EU. So I think that the future is definitely bright. Is there something that we haven't mentioned but you think that we still need to talk about? Is there something that we missed?
Yes, absolutely. And I think we have missed the most important part. Find your time for your vacation to come to Georgia and see all these things which I was talking by yourself, because you cannot imagine how I love the faces when they are even more surprised when they see what we are talking about. It's actually reality. This is the way we live, and this is the way everything is working in the country. Plus, Georgia can be a really good vacation location for spending some good time, because Georgian cuisine is becoming super popular now in the world. Plus, the wine which we have in Georgia is the oldest in the world, and I think these are additional small little tiny things which might be also like decision makers for you or the viewers to actually start thinking to visit Georgia.
Well, you definitely convinced me, so I'm already booking my tickets to come. You get me at the cuisine and the wine, but it's an absolutely amazing thing to hear that there are so many opportunities at that side of the world, and the banks are willing to work with companies and are in line with regulation, but still hungry for business. Because I think this is the biggest challenge that we see nowadays, that banks and payment providers somehow are numbed because of the regulation, and they cannot take all of those new innovative ideas that Georgia is now welcoming for. So I think it was a really good summary of Georgia. Thank you so much, and I think we learned so much. Let's show to the last page how we can reach out to Irakli. I would like to encourage everyone again, if you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to reach out to us. We are very accessible. We are replying to the emails, and we would love to hear more and more information from your business, of your challenges and your questions. So please do reach out to us. We are very hungry to know more about real life operations. And of course, Irakli is very happy to reply all the questions related to Georgia, how to move over to Georgia, bring over your operation. And of course, he's the tax expert there as well, which is also even giving more caveats to the move. Thank you very much, Irakli. It was an amazing webinar, and we learned so much from you. So thank you so much again for your time, and thank you for everyone who watched us today.
It was a pleasure for me to be invited here as well, and looking forward to hear even more via my email.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.